Hello and welcome. Today we are at the Lego house in Billund and we're going to take a look around their massive museum slash history vault of everything regarding to the Lego company. Now don't worry, what was written on the stashing old molds and the foundations I will read out word for word for you in a second. What we are currently looking at is the old molds. So these have been discontinued and they buried a lot of the others, and I'll read it out word for word as we go around in a second. Now, we are about to take a quick look around exactly what this is all about with regards to just like a panning round, and then what I will do is we will look at every single model that you see individually. I take the camera individually and then I've added in photos as a reference point so you know exactly what relates to what with the year and everything else like that. I've tried my very best to put this together for you as smoothly as possible, but what that said on that sign, it said stashing old molds in the foundations to keep the molds used in the Lego bricks from falling into the wrong hands. Christensen disposed of the decommissioned molds by casting them into concrete foundations of new factories, including the factory built in 1970. Around 1980, the Lego Group revised its policy and began sanding these molds to Danish steelworks for destruction. Sorry, sending these molds to Danish steelworks for destruction. Since 2002, decommissioned molds from the Lego factory in Denmark, Hungary, Mexico have been sent to the foundry in Billund, where they are permanently destroyed by melting the inner surfaces at extremely high heat. I think I've read that correctly, so I managed to take a photo. So where we are now, this is the little history bit of all the Lego sets. This section is available in a much bigger video. So if you want to see this in much more detail with obviously the zooming and all that sort of stuff, you can see everything with regards to each set represents a year. That is available within the Lego House 2022 playlist, or I might just keep it in the Lego House playlist. So if you don't see the 2022 beside it, it's all mixed up together from the stuff that I filmed last year. So you grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some snacks. You are stuck with me for the next 29 minutes and 58 seconds in total, and I'm going to do my very best to talk you through everything that we're going to see, and hopefully the pictures pop up at the correct times. But what you're seeing now, that is just some Friends stuff that I'll go into much greater detail, but it was the 20th anniversary of Friends, I do believe. It's amazing to think that that has been running for so long. It's either the 10th or 20th, I can't remember what they were celebrating. I'm only off by 10 years, but that is all available in the other playlists. So you can just loop it around the outside as we are doing now with regards to the full history of the company. So it starts with all the wooden bits and pieces, and then it comes all the way around to the very end with how they're trying to use new sustainable plastics and sort of reusable elements for their new bricks and all sorts of chemical balances and everything that goes completely over my head with regards to all the science side of stuff. So if you want to leave a comment below to exactly the formula that they're going to be using, then please do let me know and let everybody else know in the comments. But we are about to start this tour absolutely full on. These photos are the glass cabinets and how you read everything regarding the sets. I have tried in the past to get it all word for word, and I have filmed it. It took me about 4 hours or more. So these two photos represent all the sets that we are about to see. I don't get much of the writing in. I just want to show you how it starts with the wooden stuff, which is obviously the stuff that you're now looking at now. And we just go round and past all the different bits and pieces. So the company started as a wooden business originally. So this is the very long story, extremely short. So it started off as a wooden business. After 2 factory fires, they decided to solely focus on making the mold injections for the Lego bricks, and then we'll go around and it's got all the pattern designs and everything else. But what we want to look for is the wooden duck that we have just seen. That is a current set, an exclusive set that is now available at the Lego house only in Billund. So where this has been filmed, there is the shop, and this is the only place you can buy that set. Everything that we're about to look at now, what else do you think that they will potentially release in Lego form, because the duck was the main thing that saved the company, and also the yo-yo that was created was also extremely well designed. So he over fabricated absolutely everything just to make it last for the children to have the best experience possible. So everything that we are seeing now, it is all the wooden bits and pieces, and then as it obviously loops round, it will get more and more modern, and there's just a lot to see and take in. But like I said, there will be pictures being added in all the time, so it sort of gives a bit of a focus point of exactly what we're looking at, and just the amount of writing and everything to take in. There's a lot of TVs about, so you can actually sit and watch the models being made. There's a lot of history regarding the original fire and how they lost absolutely everything, and he was going to throw in the towel until the local community got involved and told them to try and reset back up again. And this is why the Lego group has such a community feel with regards to Billund, because they just work hand in hand, and that then links into the airport, which we'll get the information on from that as we go around. So that is the fallback wall. Now we've got the first corner. You have a little machine in the right hand side, which is that green thing, which we are about to come into now. So you can see how I've tried to do the photos with regards to what we're seeing, because I managed to go back round again and just get a clear wall basically every single time. Now, what I didn't film is the bit that's actually in the middle and behind me. There's a big old building bay. So you would have seen it in the video when I was walking around. That is where the little ones would just sit down and build a load of bricks and do whatever they wanted to do, as the adults were walking around and sort of trying to read in all the information. It was really interesting to hear actually the amount of people were going, that's the year I started to collect, that's the year I got my first set, or that was the year that I was born. And the information regarding all of this is absolutely fascinating. So if you would like me to upload the video that I had done, and I've done it last year, and it took forever, I can either upload it in one massive part. It'll be like 2 hours of just reading everything, and then we go into the models like we are now. But I thought doing it this way, it would be a little bit more interesting for people that just want to see everything. Now, there's a fascinating story with this tractor. The cost of this tractor was ridiculous, because of how it all got developed, because he got a deal with the Ferguson tractor, and he had to pay the licensing fee and everything else, and it was basically a make or break, and it came out the right way, because that was another stepping stone to now how the company is now. That really smooth edit there, that is now the next section that we're going to look at. And actually you can see there is a little building play being used there, as the parents are having a look at all the different bits and pieces. And now we move on. So the vehicles are starting to get more and more modern. They're starting to sort of come into a little bit more of a scale. This is still all of their wooden bits, and they are starting to use the injection mold. Now that is why that tractor was so expensive, because that was, I do believe I remember, a fully solid plastic model, and it just cost an absolute fortune. Now I have got that bit of information already uploaded in the really detailed tour, but because there's so much to soak in and take in, I just can't remember everything. I'm trying to do my best to do this in one hit. If you'd like further information regarding the tractor or anything else that you're seeing in this video, let me know, because I have got notes written down and I can help best as possible. We do hunt down and find the first Lego set that includes the wheels, and then we will see the first and last Lego city that have and don't have the minifigures in as well. So we're now going into more die-cast, sort of smaller scale vehicles, so you can see how they're getting smaller and smaller and becoming sort of more cost effective to make, and just how it's starting to change the different types of production. So if you've seen any of these before, like I said at the start, please do let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know if you have had anything from this group in the past. And it's amazing actually, because it speaks about all international sales and how they tried to get into America, and the company that they basically outsourced and used just didn't work, and then they ended up building up the airport, which is why the Billund airport set's so special, heading over and then just getting this distributed basically worldwide. That is a very, very short version to all the history that is available. So now you can start seeing that we're coming into more Lego type sets. Now if you notice that the vehicles aren't, but the buildings are. So you can see how it progresses through time, and then we will see the full Lego vehicles, and then they had the challenge of making a city. Now this is a Lego city, but the vehicles are not to minifigures. You can't get the minifigures in. It's a really interesting mix because I do believe you can't make the vehicles up. They are the vehicles that you buy separately, which you can then play with, and then you add them in to your Lego city. And then they started to develop the actual Lego models to go within the cities. Then it was very much a case of they needed the minifigure scale ones as well. Now they've got a lot of these dotted underneath. I am now physically sat on the floor trying to film all these for you, and again this is all full of information all around. Coming into the next photo, this is the next bit that we're going to have a look at. Now if you look at the top, they are the pattern designs for all the brick injection molds, and they are all over the place, and these are the same things that we are now looking at, which you can actually use your VIP points for to get sent one of those and have them put in a picture frame. And they do have them from time to time on the Lego website, and they are definitely worth getting because they do look very, very good framed, and it is lucky dip what they have up on the website at that time. But they have the Duplo brick on there, they have the Lego brick, they also have the patent for the minifigures, all sorts. So it's worth having a look at, and I did get a better look at those designs when I went into the Lego hotel. So you have to keep your eyes peeled for that video because it is very interesting. But this is also amazing. The introduction of the Lego wheel, 1962 to 1963, with the original box and the sets that you could buy to start making your own Lego vehicle. So model 400 from 1962 was the first time they introduced the wheel, and then you could also buy the sets. So these are the first lot of sets that they've done, and then you could then start adding them into your Lego city. But again, there was no minifigures at this point, so they introduced the minifigure, and then they introduced the figures being able to get into the vehicle. So it was all progress by process. So this is just the opposite angle of what we are going to be looking at, or what we have already seen. Now we're going to pan down and have a look at the process of how things are made. Again, there's lots of these TV screens available, so you can just sit down and have a good look. And it's just the same one or two videos maybe that are on loop. Some of them are about the fire, some of them are about the inside of the factories and how things work, like obviously what this one is. This one is, again, you can see how they are making the Lego brick at the time at one of their Lego factories. And it's just amazing just to stand there and watch. You can spend a serious amount of time if you really wanted to. Now this is the airport, this is the Billund airport bit, which is absolutely fascinating with how it started off as literally a grass runway, and it's now been developed into what it is now, with it being shared with the whole town to export their Lego goods, and then to get people in to have a look at all of their bits and pieces with regards to the actual theme parks and everything like that. The history behind the airport is absolutely fantastic. In this picture now that we have the information regarding the first Lego minifigure, so we are making our way round. Lots and lots to take in, but you can see how the buildings are getting more and more town and city-like, and you might start recognizing more and more of them, and then eventually it just becomes a full-on Lego city like we know today. The bot is interesting. I find that how the box changes with regards to just the fascia, and if you do notice, the Lego logo keeps changing. They have multiple Lego logos over the years. This one is obviously the Lego Systems logo, and it changes and changes and changes, and we've got the one that we've got currently. In the Lego shop POV video, which is from this exact same facility at the Lego house, at the end of that video they have the history of all the different logos, starting with the original all the way to present date, and they are all side by side, and I did manage to film that bit for everybody in the actual Lego shop. So if you've not checked out that video yet, head over to there, depending on when they've been uploaded, and just have a good look at and just see what Lego logos you recognize, and did you even know that the logo has changed so many times. Introducing Legoland. So prototypes for the Lego train and rails in the 1960s. It's phenomenal what is available and what is there, and just how they came up with this idea with regarding the Lego park. Now, in the Lego theme park, I found it and I filmed it, and that is going to be in the Legoland 2022 playlist. That there is a full information of the history of the park, starting with just where it obviously began and how and when they introduced things over the different decades to where we are now. And that is all filmed in one of those videos, and it is available in that playlist. So if you want to know more information with regarding the Legoland, then head yourself over. And obviously the new set has the lady that created the train that actually ended up here. I think it's a phenomenal story and how it moved from one to another, because it was originally meant from one park and then it went into the Billund park. I do believe that is all written on the back of the box, and I'm sure I'm getting the park right. I just think it's a really nice touch from Lego to have a set dedicated to that individual for all the hard work that she put in, and sort of how the park grew around her, because obviously the train is still in use, and it's just how it's all been developed and moved through. Now we are about to have a look at some of the vehicles, and you can see how they've changed with regards to design, but the theming is still very similar, because they have stuck to all the fire stations, police cars, and everything like that, with regards to sticking to the basics of what they know. And the figures that they had at the time for here wouldn't fit into the actual cars and everything like that. They just had people that were going around. So it won't be too far until we will see how the minifigure came about. Now, if you notice, the logo has changed. It now doesn't say Lego System. We're in a slightly different era, and everything, it's all starting to come together now. So with regards to the designs for the cars and everything, it's all starting to change. And then they come up with the concept of the Lego City, but they have also introduced the Lego Technic side of stuff at the same time, and then they'll start running parallel to each other. I'm sure a lot of people will know what this set is, and if you're probably guessing what year it is, let me know in the comments below if you've got it right, because these sets back to back are a lot of themes that people want back. They have got all the space stuff, they've got the original castle back here, and then it just keeps going, and they've got the original Duplo set. So all of this stuff all happened at the same time, and it's still stuff that people are craving for with regards to sets to be made, and they are still using that type of theming in the Legoland parks as well. Now, have we spotted something with regards to the little people? Now, the people have been created, but the people now do not fit in the cars. So that is now the next problem that they had to come up with. They had to then create vehicles that would fit the minifigure in. And that bit of artwork that's on the wall, again, you could have used your points to get one of those pattern designs to the minifigure, pop it in a frame, and then you could just keep it and just use your VIP points up for that. So we are now coming between 1980 and 1990. So all of these bits and pieces, if they represent your sort of when you started, again, let us know in the comments below. Let me know what your first set was with regards to this era, and if you did collect anything from this, or you backdated anything. This was a good year, if I remember rightly, for Lego. And then sort of 90s onwards, it went into a bit of their dark ages, because they started introducing too many sets, and they started to lose money, and it got a little bit nasty, and the company nearly went bankrupt. But this is sort of almost the golden age with regards to sales, I do believe. If you've seen the Toys That Made Us on Netflix show, they go in great depth detail of sort of the profits and losses of the Lego Group company, and it was absolutely skyrocketing along this time with regards just to the Legoland parks and how much money they were making and how much money they were making in sales with all of these sets. So they've already added a different castle in, and then it fell off the cliff, and a lot of people went into their dark ages because the vehicles just changed too much. Everything changed too much. They added too much, and they admit it. And then they brought it all back to basics, and then they got it going again, which is really nice. But I think people are still really hoping that they will re-release some of the space sets. So maybe one day they will. Um, and you've got the pirate stuff as well, which again they haven't done for a long time. Obviously, we had the pirate boat for the Lego ideas, but they've not done much for a long time with Captain Redbeard. So hopefully it'll be time that they might do that, for I know a lot of you want it. It's not a thing that I ever collected really, but I know a lot of people have always wanted that. When people speak about it, it's just stuff that they would like to have back again. And maybe they can rotate those sets around and sort of add them back in and tweak them ever so slightly. I do like the fact that they have added in the blank spaces their own Lego factories. I think that's a really nice touch. I'm sure people would buy them if they had the opportunity to for them to be on sale. So this is just some Lego Technic models, and then we have some of the sets. You've got the Paradise sets, which I do believe what the Friends is based on. That wasn't out for a long, long time. And then we've got some more fire stations, and then we loop round into the original Technic stuff. Now this is where I do believe it started to go a little bit wrong, because they have added all the Lego games, and if you know that they spent so much money on things that just didn't really take off and work, and then they started to run at a loss. They added in some Barbie like dolls. They branched out into a lot of things that didn't really work. And again, the sets and the police stations and everything, it all just changed, and it got very, very blocky, and it didn't really work whatsoever. But then what saved the company is only just round the corner. So there's a couple of things that saved it. They had their first ever license with Star Wars, and there's also another thing which you will have a look at, and I know a lot of people are a fan of, and I don't understand why they haven't released these with regards to a set, because it would have been one of their anniversaries now, and they haven't yet done it. But this is one of the big things that really got the company going again in the right direction, and then they got the base of the foundations to get everything going again, and then they started to reintroduce just the normal Lego sets again, and they alongside the Harry Potter. The problem is that they had all in one hit, is that there was no Star Wars films being made, there's no Harry Potter films being made, and the sets just weren't selling. But they introduced these. Now, these are the things that started to save the company, and it was all to do with the Bionicle world. So they went through all different comics, there was games, they made films. It ran from 2003 to 2010, I do believe. And it was over the comic series. Apparently, it peaked and reached almost 2 million readers per month, making it the most widely circulated monthly comic on the planet at the time. So they really hit the ground running, luckily, with that. They did a massive, strong marketing campaign, and it just saved the money and the company with the money going under completely. And then we now carry on moving on. There was the NBA Stars, which was very, very hard to get hold of within the UK, but I think we had the football ones when they had the basketball ones. And now all of these are just other random sets that are on show over the years that were about. So what did you get? There's some 3-in-1 creator sets in there. You got some of the artwork, and then obviously we're not going to be too far away now from them introducing the Ninjago stuff as well, which then just took off, and it's just kept on going. But with regards to everything that you've seen so far, what is your favourite set that's on display? What is your favourite part of this video? Is there something that you thought they might have had on display because you thought it would have been really important, but they've not yet shown? The reason why they've got all the Friends stuff in there is because of their anniversary, like I said. And then we will loop it round, and we'll have a look at all of the last part and the last bit of the history of the company with regards to what bits they're going to be using that's new. So we're now into the Lego movie bits and pieces that they've got. You've got the Unikitty, you've got Emmett, and it's like I said, it started at the wood. We're now where we're at with the Minecraft sets that I've never really got into for this. And then you've got the is it the Mindstorm? The EV Mindstorms. They are becoming more and more popular. Glass in the Bottle, that was a sort of a set that nobody really wanted, then all of a sudden everybody wanted it when it got retired. You've got Wally down there, and then obviously you've got the Technic Porsche, which was the start of the big cars, because then what followed that was the Bugatti and the Lambo. That's the exclusive Lego house set that you can only get from here. and then it just carries on because it will then say it will just carry on with regards to the history of the company from the date that this finishes, and they will hopefully just keep adding more and more history to all of this with everything that we see. And then they go into sustainability with what they want to do with the company. That's why they've got all the windmills and everything on show, and how they're going to try and bring down their carbon footprint, and then what they're going to be using with these elements here with regards to just trying to get it more economical. And there's also braille there, so they've introduced a braille brick, which is really, really interesting with regards to, obviously, if you're blind, it means you can then still build. So they're trying to include everybody possible. Now, this is the campus. Now, this is now built. So what this is completely available in a different video, obviously, and it is definitely worth watching. The thing is massive, and it is just phenomenally built. Right, I'm going to start to wrap it up. That is me done. That is a lot of talking for a long, long time. Hopefully, I've not bored you too much. But if you could like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, let me know in the comments below what your favourite sets are and what you found useful and all that side of things. So, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys take care and hope to catch you in the next one. Ta-da.
I took pictures of every single one of these facts.
Yeah.
For myself.
That's the